All right, everyone. You know the drill. It's part two of the Sisterhood of the Traveling Child Abusers. Going to play back a few moments of the last episode so that you know where we're at, and then we're just going to go right into this because this was one big long recording that we cut into pieces. So enjoy, I guess. Is that what we're doing? Are we enjoying this? I'm listening back to this and God. Not
Oh, here's all the letters we had you write to her while she was
that we didn't
institutionalized that
deliver
we
to her.
yeah, we didn't send.
We
We put them
never
in the
gave them.
scrapbook. No, they
Yeah,
didn't. They show up with the
they
letters.
showed up with the letters. They're not in the scrapbook. We took those letters that you wrote to your mom, who you were missing, who was gone for several months after she beat you, um, and we kept them. Those were ours.
I think they say they got permission from the mom to show her.
Kind of. She said, "Does Mama know that you're showing me this?" And they're like, "She knows in her soul." Like, she did not. She did not actually give permission. She was like, "Do what you think is right." And no one went, "There you go again, letting other people raise your kids for you."
Look, I'm sorry. Vivi is just such a piece of shit that the world would be better off without. I don't know how you can read this book and come away with any other conclusion.
I don't know how you read this book and go, "Wow, so my mom was a person too." It's like, if your mom was anything like Vivi, run.
Like, if you watch The Righteous Gemstones, Baby Billy is an evil piece of shit. He still asked for forgiveness. Like, even Jesus Christ requires you to ask to be forgiven.
Yeah.
And that guy forgives everyone. Like, I and then like why is there a Catholic theme running throughout this? I guess
I
just
don't know.
Catholicism is in the background of Louisiana, I guess.
Because it's in the South, yeah.
Well, okay, so first off, the South is mostly Protestant except for this weird French part of it.
That's weird.
Because British are like staunch, like the South is where the evangelicals are. That's where you
Yeah.
get your Baptists and your hate the gays, fire and brimstone types. But yeah, the Catholics are, because Britain had been Protestant for a while, but the Catholics are all French, and so that French influence is this weird place where you can be a Catholic in the South. Because I think the KKK is actually like, they hate Catholics.
Oh.
That's another. I mean, they hate a lot
Huh.
of things, but they
Yeah. Yeah.
they hate Catholics too. I could be wrong about that. I don't know. I don't hang out with them, but
You are not a child anymore. She does not owe you anything.
yeah, she does though.
She kind of does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, she does though. Like, at the bare minimum, like, respect is another human being. Um,
Yeah.
she owes me at bare minimum what she owes everybody else, which she doesn't seem to think she does because she's queen of the swamp. But yeah, I can't even imagine where Kara would get off telling another person's child that.
Yeah.
I know you're Trey, YaYa, Chic, whatever, but like,
Caro, next time I'm around you, I am going to casually light a match.
you're showing me like the most brutal, emotionally scarring letters I wrote as a child that you lied to me about delivering to my mom. You all owe me, pause for effect, an apology.
But they assure her that your mom loves you.
And
She's not here.
one
She's not having
free
that
hit
conversation with you.
to the
Yeah, one
face
free hit.
with a closed fist.
So yeah, we can talk about how Vivi was given a mother of pearl ring by her father,
I thought it
and
was
her mom
diamond.
gets super jealous. I thought it was mother of pearl, but
I think it was diamond.
I don't care, Ben. It was a really nice ring.
I think it was a diamond, and the reason that's a problem is because he never gave a diamond ring to his wife, which is weird because
Yeah, but
that's the wife
when
gift.
when you were stooping her sister because you were dating her sister, and then she came along and seduced you away. Look, he's not a great person, and like we know that. So what? It's I guess
Now,
I
why is he
get
not a
why
great
you're
person? Because
taking.
we're told he hit somebody with a belt. Is that enough?
Yeah, apparently that's enough.
That's enough to not be a great person.
Yeah, unless you're Vivi, because she did it
Okay,
with style. That's the
that's
difference
right. He
there.
didn't do it
She
with
did it with
style.
style. He
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 wasn't
just hit her.
luminous.
Yeah,
He wasn't Trey YaYa.
yeah.
Trey
He
YaYa, mon
wasn't a
cher.
princess running river YaYa or whatever weird bullshit that they like. God damn.
He wasn't trapped at age 12.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, he gives a diamond ring to her, and mom gets jealous, Buggy, and is like, okay, well, guess what? You're going to Catholic boarding school.
My God, no.
And I think I don't remember who it was. It might have been my dad. The quickest way to fall out of the faith is to go to a Catholic school.
I've heard that.
He went to a Catholic school. It's not Catholic anymore. Who would have thought?
Yeah, something about nuns screaming at you and hitting you
And hitting you. Yeah.
makes you not want to believe the rest of what they say.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember Jesus yelling at people and hitting them. That must have been
He
in.
yelled at people sometimes. He flipped a couple tables.
Did he really?
Yeah, he
That's
turned my
fucking
father's
awesome.
house into a den of thieves, that whole scene.
Okay.
Yeah. You should read the
And then he
Bible. It's
and then
good.
he hit him with a paddle until they bled and peed themselves,
I
I
don't think he
assume.
hit them.
Okay.
He did scare the
You
shit out of them, though.
I mean, yeah.
Because you got to keep in mind,
Jesus.
nobody in there had any context for that my father's house thing.
What, Joseph? Is this Joseph's house? Is that
Is that Jesus? Is that Joseph's kid? I don't even think this was in his hometown.
So, off to Catholic boarding school. And oh, by the way, we shifted the timetable. You're going in the morning on the morning train, so no one can say goodbye to you. And also, your dad made this decision, and also he said don't wake him up. And also he said he doesn't love you, and he wants me to have that diamond ring. You can trust me. And Vivi's also like, I love my mom. Why is she doing this to me? It's like, cause your mom sucks. And guess what? You're gonna suck even worse.
Mm-hmm.
So her brother, who I forgot she even had a brother, like he defends her briefly and then like he disappears. I don't know where the fuck
Yeah,
he
because she's
goes.
not even the oldest sibling. She's the oldest daughter.
Yeah, I think she has a sister and a brother, right?
She's an older brother.
And she has like a baby sister that,
Yeah.
yeah, was significantly younger. I don't know, like 5 or 6 years, I think. I don't know. I don't remember them saying much about her sister at all. So, um, Phoebe goes to boarding school, and she can't find any bad girls to be with, and she's constantly made out to be the like, here's what you might become if you don't pray. You might be a piece of shit like this. Who I'm trying to save your soul, but you're a piece of shit, and God hates you. But we're
Uh,
here to make him not
I
hate you.
mean, it's weird that like I low key agree with the nun on that one. You
She had
hadn't
yet to become a
completed.
piece of shit.
She hadn't completed her transformation yet, but her
Yeah,
final form. Maybe they saw something there.
maybe. So then Vivi is like ostracized. She stops eating. She gets super sick. She starts vomiting. Someone tattles on her for being in the toilet too long. That's a thing. You only get 2 squares. She's vomiting up all of her guts. She ends up in the infirmary for days. And the nurse is the only nice person to her. Um, and
I can tell
uh,
you're a luminous being.
yeah, yeah, you can tell from the fact that you can see my bones now and I look like death. Luminous.
So
Luminous beings are we, said Yoda.
I yeah, not this crude matter, but
Not this
I
crude.
it's weird how often you could just take anything Yoda said and substitute it for Jesus and nobody would know. um but I don't fully get, like, I understand she's depressed. I understand she's not thriving in this environment.
And she's writing letters to her mom, which I assume were never delivered.
Well, and they are trying to, where it starts to get weird is they do kind of do this weird like psychological torture thing where they insist on calling her by a different name.
Yeah, her Catholic name.
They're trying to like strip her identity.
Yeah, that is a little weird, but desperate times, desperate measures.
She's there for like 2 months.
Everyone else appears to be okay with this. None of the other students are like, I'm trapped here at a Catholic boarding school and this is a nightmare. They're all like volunteering, like, how can I also torture her? Let's do this, guys.
Well, it's
And
that the old, I don't know, there's probably an English saying, but oh no, it's like
I'm
the,
not the bottom of the totem pole anymore.
no, the nail that sticks up gets hammered down.
Ah, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then she awakens one night and all of her shit's on fire. All of her, like, did someone sneak into her room and start a fire to burn her dresses
I
in
think
her room?
that's the implication is she had this silk dress she wasn't, silk nightgown or something she wasn't supposed to have. And
And they burned it inside of the building, which was just some genius level, like, that's how you lose a building. And her dad was a lawyer. He would have sued.
was her dad a lawyer?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was the lawyer because Shep was the farmer. So, yeah, Mr. Abbott was a lawyer. A real Southern lawyer.
Yeah, so then Teensy's mom comes and gets her out.
Yeah, the nurse calls Teensy's mom, and Teensy's mom show up, and they grab her, and Mother Superior is like, well, maybe she started the fire herself. Yeah, maybe she started the fire herself. Solid, like, maybe this was a suicide. They shot themselves in the back of the head.
Twice.
Twice. Just to make sure. So, Teensy's mom the Mother Superior goes to grab for Vivi, and Teensy's mom is like, "Get the fuck you!" Rips her arm off and shoves her, and they're out the hallway and out the door, and they're back home. And Vivi's mom gives her the silent treatment for like 2 or 3 months until the summer.
God, what a terrible thing.
And then Jacques is there to dedicate a song to her, and she sheds single motherly tears. No one has ever dedicated a song to me, Jacques.
Yeah, because you suck.
Do maybe you want to sleep with me? Is this? I mean, I took my sister's man. I might take my daughter's man. Why not? She doesn't do that.
You keep confusing me.
That was Buggy. Buggy.
You keep
Jacques
saying,
dedicated a song to Buggy.
no, you keep saying Buggy took her sister's man, but then you also say that it's Sitta's great grandmother that took her sister's man.
No. It's Sitta's grandmother that took her sister's man to get back at her great grandmother somehow. Because her great grandmother preferred Buggy's sister.
Oh God, these people need to get out of the swamp.
They really do.
Yeah.
Or they need to get warging powers. One of the two.
Yeah, you either need to become a green seer or you need to get out of the swamp. Though you suggest that playfully, but the YaYa Sisterhood may actually attempt such a thing.
She does pull out a Ouija board at one point.
Oh my God. If these girls had the internet, they would be doing so much astrology. You know, it would actually probably make it more tolerable. I don't think it amounts to anything, but it's at least a hobby of some kind. It's something to do other than sit around and be so Trey YaYa.
Well, so Vivi is working on her tennis game. She's gonna go pro someday, Ben. She's gonna be a big time celebrity tennis player.
Yeah, it's
And her dad
crazy how
shows
whatever
up.
you think you're doing, you think you're going to be the best at because you're totally normal and not at all a narcissist.
Yeah. And her dad shows up and is like, hey, so we need to talk. And she's like, yeah, after my game. So he just
It's
stands
not her
there.
dad, it's her brother.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Why would her dad say something like that? Her dad is so emotionally checked out from everyone.
Her dad's in
Um,
Cuba, hanging out with our allies, the communists.
yeah. Wait, what?
It's World War II.
so,
We're still getting
so,
along.
so, yeah, anyway, sorry, but oh yeah, it does say Pete. Pete is her brother. I had to remind myself that because I swear he showed up once when she was going to the boarding school and here. And I was like,
No,
who the
he's
fuck?
around. He's in the background because he keeps calling her Stinky.
Oh, that was her? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So, sorry. Jacques is dead. And then
No, that can't be true. He's probably fighting with the French resistance.
yeah, Genevieve or whatever her name is. Jean is it like Genevieve but like
Genevieve?
French? Genevieve, yeah. She is Teensy's mom, and she's like deluded, like he's fighting with the French resistance, and no, he's dead. He's super super dead.
Oh, they never found a
Um,
body, but that's just how dead he is.
they never found a body because he was shot out of the sky and he collided with the ground. There is no body left. We'll ship you back whatever we can scrape off of the wreckage of his burned out plane. But no, he's fighting with the French resistance. He's gonna come back someday. Um, and
what?
definitely don't ever try to move on or mourn.
What if he did, but then he got shot in the French resistance?
I thought you were gonna say what if he did, but then Shep killed him.
no, no, I'm just thinking like, what if he did survive the plane crash and they find out he survived the plane crash by reading his obituary in the French resistance?
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then, yeah, Teensy's mom gets got by alligators.
What?
They said the alligators got her, but then it turns out it's just hard drugs and suicide, Ben.
Yeah. Okay.
Why did
I
they
don't
say
remember.
alligators got her? Is this like code?
It. Yeah. I guess in World War II, Louisiana, alligators is code for that wacky tobacco.
So she blamed her husband for killing her son, and
Because of his
then
patriotisme.
yeah, I mean he was a wimpy little loser lover boy. We needed to man him up. We needed to get him eating protein, doing sit-ups and push-ups.
Does that help you fly a plane?
Yes. If you ever need to wrestle the controls, yeah,
So
you
here's
need
the
to.
thing: if you're going down in your plane, right, you want to try to roll when you land.
There you go. It works for Zelda. It
Practice your
works for.
somersaults. Yeah.
Really though, it's Vivi's fault for not being better at tennis. If she were a tennis star, he would have lived.
Hey, we'll never know.
Actually, she didn't become a tennis star because he
I,
died. It was his fault. Yeah,
a
she
little
would have been
a part of her
famous.
died that day.
Yeah, shame that it wasn't more of her, but
Yeah.
we take what we can get.
Well, it's like you
So
said. This is Jeanette McCurdy's. I'm glad my mom died, except her mom never died, and she made up with her and gave her all her
yeah,
money. And
at the end, she goes, "Thank you for making me a child star and giving me the bulimia. That was awesome."
let me open a joint bank account with you.
Yeah, yeah. Then we go back to Sita, who's like, it's really weird that they force us to like renounce your feelings of love to the black women who raised us. And I was like, I'm
Just like
sorry,
the Jedi.
I'm sorry. Wait, hold on, what?
No, she says like this totally relatable experience of like, it's so weird how black women raise us, but then as we grow older, we're expected to not be so close to them anymore. And it's like, yeah, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah, I've never experienced this
I've
with
never
Vivi.
experienced anything like that. Most people, this is going to blow your fucking mind, don't have servants.
Yeah. Melinda, in this case, Vivi is like, Melinda, please, I can't raise my children without you. And Melinda's like,
I know.
you're gonna have to, though. It's kind of your job.
Unfortunately, I'm on vacation, and this is kind of the part I've been looking the most forward to.
I'll get you anything you want. I'll make Shep get you a car with all that money that I don't have.
No, this is going to be
And
funnier.
and then you can tell from the sound of her voice that she forgot about being my children. And I just wrote, yeah, I would too.
You know
She could.
they're paid to be there, right?
So the children are running after her like, no, Melinda, stay. We love you. Don't leave us with this alcoholic crazy person.
That we don't know.
Who is this? Every few days she emerges from her cave to feed, and we have to get out of there. And they're like, children, children. Oh man, this is just great. My children are going to be bitten by a quote rabies infected colored dog, and I just wrote, oh my fucking god, Vivi.
Again, in case you were wondering if you were supposed to like Vivi, and you can say,
I feel like the author was trying to make me like her and just doing the worst fucking job imaginable.
look, I'm going to tell you something. You could say she's a product of her time. Now, I don't know anybody from Louisiana. I don't know what the dynamics are there, but my grandmother, we've discussed this on the podcast. She is 95. She grew up in this time in West Virginia. Believe it or not,
West Virginia.
her family did have servants.
Shenandoah.
I'm familiar with the song, and I have to. She always roots for the West Virginia WVU football team.
Ew.
Yeah, I know. Don't tell whoever's listening. Don't tell me I said that. But
It's super weird that West Virginia was the one that was pro-union. It's the worst Virginia. Like, I don't know how that happens.
They didn't own a lot. They
They
don't own
didn't
a
have
lot in the
much of
mountains.
anything. Yeah.
You shot the wrong mountain, like somebody shot the wrong mountain man, and he was like, "They hold a grudge, man." But no. So I'm familiar with some of this. The South. My grandma has told me when she moved from the South to the North. They went to the. She's told this story to me many times. She went to a movie theater with my grandfather, and when they arrived a little late, and when the lights came up, she realized she was sitting next to a black couple, and she had never experienced
What?
being in a public place because she was raised in their separate places for whites and color, and so she had never sat next to a black person before who wasn't working for her family, and it was a surreal experience for her, and she had to get used to all those changes. And um I'll tell you the weird thing though, she's still never talked about people the way this woman talks about people. Like, I've known people who grew up in that environment, and I lived with my grandma for a little bit, and um, she's in a retirement community, and I've known many old people in my day who are from this era, and I'm not going to say they have the most enlightened liberal opinions on things, but it's still weirdly not this bad.
Yeah, it's nowhere near this bad.
So I will tell you, Vivi,
Melinda could at least have invited us in, Ben.
I'm sure that the defense of Vivi is she's a product of her time, and I don't buy it. I'm sorry, I don't buy it.
The defense of Vivi, I think, is, well, she was also abused, so like it's
Everyone who grew up during 2 world wars and a Great Depression experienced some level of trauma. I'm going to throw that out there. You're shockingly, Vivi, I don't think you're the only one who lost a boyfriend to World War II.
Unless you live in the Austin McConnell verse.
I think a lot of people died in World War II. And more it's like you said too, that like, what if he had come back? Because a lot of them came back too, and they were not the same.
Yeah, no. What if he had come back? There's no guarantee that would have worked out. Even
Yeah.
if he was the same, there's no guarantee he wouldn't grow and change as a person. He's 18 and you're 16. Now,
Yeah.
Vivi does not grow and change as a person, but that doesn't mean Jacques couldn't.
Yeah. It's well, he's traveled the world now. What's to say he still wants to live in
Yeah, I
middle
was going to say that same thing. Oh,
middle of
now I want to
nowhere?
live in a city. I don't want to live in a swamp. But sorry, we have to live here because we're the swamp Indian princesses.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like they use the YaYa Sisterhood as a kind of like
Codependent?
codependent cult that reinforces dedication to the cult. Like, as long as you're a YaYa, you never have to be more.
And they're not.
And you go, oh, yeah, they sure aren't. It's weird though because like the other YaYas seem happy, except
Yeah.
Caro, who's dying of emphysema.
She seems as happy as a person who's dying of emphysema can.
She seems to be in a little bit of denial about what's going on. Actually, there are many times where she's like, "No, it's not as bad as it sounds," and I'm like, "Really?" Because I'm listening to a narrator just kind of pretend, and it sounds awful. But yeah, there's this Darth Vader thing going on, except it's not robotic. It's just choking.
So there was something that I think maybe this should have been as bad as things got instead of the beating, because uh, there's a night where Vivi is all on her own and she's sleeping. Of course, she has some bourbon. Who doesn't like some bourbon when they've got 4 kids to look after and all by themselves? And so this must have been before kid number 5. So anyway, uh, she wakes up because Sita is coughing, and then she's like, "The littles are sick." Sick, sick how? She goes in there. There is just shit and vomit everywhere. It's coming out of both ends from everyone. It's a fucking nightmare. She gets it on her nightgown. She has to like strip all the bedding, clean everything, clean up her kids, get them all back to sleep, get Sita some medicine. She's about to lose her fucking mind. This is where she parentifies Sita, I think, for the first time. Sita's 4. She's like, "You're the biggest, so you have to help me out. You signed up for this parent life too, apparently."
It's weird that she's the
And
biggest though, because she's not. Because she has an older brother. He's just not there, I guess.
I thought she was the oldest.
No, she has an older brother.
Sure?
Um.
Are you sure the older brother isn't just her dead twin? Because I think Sid is the oldest.
Well, then who is this brother?
Shep Jr. I think he's like a
Oh, is
year
he?
younger.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
they just had kid after kid after kid after kid.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah, you might want to space that out.
and presumably Vivi had no say in that question mark. You could stop, right?
Well, I mean, again, like,
You could say societal pressure, but you don't seem someone who's really pressured by society, Vivi.
yeah. And I mean, Shep seems afraid of you.
Yeah, you could just be like, "We're not having another kid, or I'll beat you to death." And Shep will probably be like, "Yes, ma'am. I'm going back out to my fields. I'll see you in 2 weeks." Like, yeah. So so that was very relatable though. I was like, okay, yeah, she's at the end of her rope. She gets everyone back to bed and treated, but she's completely exhausted to the point where she lays down, and then she's like, "Why does it still smell?" Oh yeah, during this entire time, my nightgown is still covered in vomit. So she just kind of strips that off and throws that to the side, and is like, I'm just gonna lay here. Like, I'm done. I'm fucking done." And I was like, you know what? I only have the one kid, but I was running off of anywhere from, on a good night, maybe like 6 hours of sleep, but most nights 4 if I was lucky. It got so bad that my wife and I had to split the night, so one of us would take like 10 o'clock to 2:30, and then the other one got 2:30 to 7 or whatever. And
Well,
so
and I'll say the same thing I said at the beginning. Kind of is I may have downplayed the trauma of losing Jacques, but like it, yeah, no, it doesn't matter if it's traumatic relative to what everybody else in the country is dealing with. If it's traumatic to you, it's trauma. I can understand how that could turn into a drinking problem for Vivi. I can understand how the pressures of having too many kids or even having one kid before you're ready or before you really understand what it's going to be like
right.
um, can get to you. I can understand logically how all of Vivi's bad acts occur. And, I can agree even that she does not need to be defined by the worst decision she's ever made. However, she refuses to acknowledge that she ever did anything wrong. It's a different book if it's a totally different book if at the end Sita shows up and Vivi says and Sita says, "I'm so sorry, Mama," and Vivi says, "No, I'm so sorry."
Yeah.
It's a different book, but that is not what happens.
No. No. So then the next day, another black servant is here, and she's like, "All right, watch the kids. I'm going to go to the
I need to go get
parish."
milk and cigarettes.
She goes, and she's like, "Father, I want to beat my husband and run away." And he's like, "Well, stop thinking like that.
Yeah, you
You're
shouldn't do
forgiven.
that.
Get out of here."
I
And
want
so
you
she
to
does.
I want you to pray on that, and I want you to think real hard about not doing that while you're praying on that.
Yeah, 7 Hail Marys and 3 Our Father in heavens or whatever. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
So she gets in her car and drives for the Gulf of America, Ben. And
Oh,
this
are
is
we still
after she.
doing that? Is that still a thing? It's not just the freedom fries of golfs.
there's a fucking there's a wrestler who's dressed up as a luchador named uh oh god El Grande Americano, and he's from the Gulf of America, Ben.
Okay.
So she pawns her father's ring that he gave her, the only thing that she has to her name, for $500, which is a lot of money for whenever the fuck this is, the 70s at this point, 60s. She said it was young, so I guess it would have been the 50s even.
So if Sita is 40 in 1993, and she is
Like
4
as
years
old as my
old at
dad,
this point,
basically.
then this is
50.
1959? Or no, 1950. Yeah,
6?
1959.
Oh, okay. Whatever. So that's a lot of money for back then, when you could buy a house for $500, and that's just the whole mortgage. And also, it comes with a free family that you can put to work and a college education. So that was the good old days before Reagan came in. So she basically has a vacation on that money, and her plan is to God, send me a sign, because otherwise I'm just going to keep driving until I run out of gas. I'm just going to keep going. Um, but then she runs back, and also she gets her father's ring by sticking up a legitimate pawnbroker who was just trying to do his job.
Oh, if he's legitimate, he's pretty
No,
clear about I don't
he does
ask a
not
lot
want
of
to know.
questions.
Yeah, I run a legitimate operation here, but also do not tell me where it came from. I don't want to know. So then my next bullet point is she beat her kids when Sita was 10. That psychotic break was not, in fact, a postpartum psychosis like I originally thought. No, Ben, you see,
I think I
for
was off. I
Lynch,
think it might have been 1969.
no, you're not. She was 40 in 93. She would have been born in the 50s.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
She's a fucking boomer, Ben. She's about the age of my dad. That's crazy. Anyway, Vivi was giving up alcohol for Lent. Well, okay. I'll only drink on days that aren't Sunday. Well, I'll drink on days that aren't Sunday, and also when I'm not in the parish itself. So she's drinking a bunch, and then
were you drinking in the parish?
I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth.
You know how when they pass around the sacramental wine, there's a full bottle, but then after it comes to me, there's like a quarter.
So she goes. A priest gives her Dexedil, I think is what they called it. I had a hard time making out the name of the medicine, but she was like, "Wow, it helps me kick the alcohol and it fills me with energy, so I don't need that alcohol anymore. I just need more Dexedil." And then she goes on a parish retreat with this priest, and she doesn't know anyone there, and I didn't like where that was going. And then when she comes back, she was, I assume, her eyes were the size of like saucers and bloodshot, and she was convinced her kids had the devil inside of them. And Kara was like, I never forgave myself for not realizing she was crazy as fuck. And yeah, then she
Well, did you
proceeds.
remind yourself that she was luminous?
She was luminous, and she has nothing to apologize
She was
for.
crazy with style, right?
Yeah, and you have nothing to feel bad about because she doesn't feel bad about it. Except she does, but she'll never talk
She's
about
willing
that.
to forgive you for not dodging.
Yeah, really.
She talks about that. Why did Siddha stand there and take it?
Why didn't you die?
She should have stopped me. It's Siddha's fault, really, for not beating up her mother when she was 10 years old.
I mean, I agree that's what she should have done. Because that would have been hilarious.
So he just fucking kicks her knees out and starts kicking her in the face. Yeah. Again, one free punch, closed fist, hard as I can. So yeah, this is when she beats all of her children, and Siddha blocks most of the abuse with her body and then gets bloodied, and she pisses herself. And then after they get the kids out of there, Kara goes back. Vivi's like on the floor, completely fucking out of it, doesn't know how to eat, doesn't know her name. Her
I did enjoy
husband.
that Shep tries to make her like a magic BLT.
Yeah, magic BLT.
That's
I
gonna
was
make
like,
this go away.
that is what she needs right now. She needs sustenance, Shep. Good thinking. She just hasn't had a good meal.
I'm going to fry up bacon and a tomato.
And Caro presumably just watched all this. Like, okay,
I
this
don't
is
know
what we're
what
doing.
you would do. I think I would also stand there helpless in that situation. Completely stunned by the absurdity of this man making a BLT. And then I'm not going to lie to you, man. I probably would have said, look, if she doesn't want it, I'll take it. Do you have mayo?
Well, yeah, because it did. He had to wipe mayo off her face when it just fell out of her mouth. So,
I mean,
God.
we can't just. I'm not just going to throw away a BLT. I'm not rich, okay? I'm not like the rest of you.
Yeah, I've got oxygen that I'm gonna have to be on later on. Okay, so they get her to a hospital that they don't call a hospital. Ben, they keep saying that, and she can't say her name, so they can't do a voluntary admission. So they're gonna have to involuntarily admit her.
Shep
And
won't stand for that. If
Shep is
my
like,
wife
no.
wants to register as Storm, Goddess of Thunder, then that is who she is today.
And if you fucking say anything, I'm gonna beat the fuck out of you, I think was the implication. So the doctor was like, okay, shit, yeah.
All right.
Storm,
Take them all.
Goddess
Take them all
of...
back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, then she stays at this retreat for, was it 3 or 4 months? I can't remember. And
This retreat.
this retreat, yeah. I mean, it is a retreat for life, right? You're running away from your life.
Maybe an old-timey insane asylum. Maybe.
Yeah. So,
They're definitely
Vivi
not all
never
haunted for some reason.
Vivi never signed in, Ben. And to this day, she doesn't want to even talk about it. And then they said that she may be an alcoholic, but she's luminous. Motherfucker, you're saying this right after you talk about how she had a psychotic break from reality and beat her kids because she was trying to quit alcohol by abusing hard drugs.
You know how we checked your mother into a clinic under an assumed name so know that nobody could ever track this back to her, and we didn't call the police, and we swept it all under the rug. Really, I think you need to be worried about how this affected your mother.
Yeah.
And
Wow, did she never really talk to you about that? No. She swept it under the rug and none of you said anything for the last fucking 30 years.
did you ever
Thanks for
think
that.
maybe this YaYa thing has gotten out of hand?
Absolutely not. We took a blood oath.
To
There's
cover up
nothing-
child
there's-
abuse?
There's nothing less out of hand than a blood oath, Ben.
I don't think
You
I'd
know
cover
how
that
Hannibal
up for
took
my...
a blood oath to fight the Romans? That's us, but it's to be friends forever.
Okay, first
SpongeBob.
off, you've been reading way too much of that Roman book. But second, I wouldn't cover up for my actual siblings for something like that. Let alone the inferior blood oath sibling.
Friends forever, SpongeBob!
I think they're the superior blood oath sibling.
So Odin
One of them
also...
likes to get nude and talks.
Odin also took a blood oath to be Loki's blood brother, and he vowed an oath that he would never drink unless Loki was also served. But then one day Loki goes too far, and Odin sews his lips shut, straps him to a table, and hangs a poisonous serpent over him.
Yeah, but, Odin gets his in the end, too.
Yeah, true.
A lot of people get
I guess
theirs.
that's the satisfying end to Norse mythology that we're denied in the divine secrets of the YaYa Sisterhood.
We don't have
Odin does
Loki
get
and
his.
Surtur coming in
Yeah.
and just wiping out Vivi and the YaYas.
Well, we're getting close with Caro.
Oh, yeah. Well, all you
I
have to
like-
do is light a match.
I like. There's one point where they say something about like, and if Vivi leaves this world, the three of us will be blah 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 blah. And I'm like, Caro. This is why I say I think you're in denial about how serious this problem is. Like, Caro, that those air sacs don't grow back, man. Like,
I like how all your friends still smoke around you, though.
and they
toast to you.
toast to you when they
They
smoke.
toast to you.
I was gonna say I feel bad making all these emphysema jokes, but the YaYas don't.
Yeah, they don't give a shit. Maybe you shouldn't have gotten emphysema, you fucking idiot.
She was so athletic, the strongest swimmer.
Was she?
I don't know. They're all very good swimmers. They
fucking
all
remember.
swim in the creek, and they have beer in the cooler, and then they drive home after drinking a cooler full of beer, with all the kids in the car, every single one of them.
So then they're like, Sita, you can't understand your mom, but she loves you. And she's like, she should have been the one to say this.
In
And they're
fact, she's
like,
been saying the exact opposite.
Yeah, she's cut you off. And you know what, Sita? Shut up. She says she loves you. No, wait, she doesn't say it, but she emotes it.
Can I tell you the hands down the most frustrating part of the book? Well, not hands down. One of the most frustrating parts of the book is when Sita is rightfully angry about all of this. She's like, how dare my mother send the YaYas out here and not come herself? It should have been her, blah, 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 blah. And then the guy she's about to marry, who should be the voice of reason, the outside perspective in all this, looking
I
at...
think that the author thinks that he is the voice of reason here.
Yeah, and like, so the author thinks that an outside observer seeing this band of codependent, make-believe, child-abusing narcissists is like, the YaYas are amazing. Isn't this what you've always wanted? Isn't this
Connor,
the
I
peak?
think we need to see other people.
Isn't this peak female friendship? Isn't this people bonding together to create a found family to make this world just a little less terrible for everyone except the children they abuse?
And also their husbands? Yeah.
Yeah, and I can't wait to be one of them.
Yeah,
I can't wait to be a part of this dysfunction. Let's go down to Louisiana
Connor,
right now.
We're never going to Louisiana.
Let's go down to Louisiana
to
right now so that a bunch of swamp rednecks can call me Yankee. Because I love that. Everybody loves that. And
yeah, you know what they call my ancestors? Victors.
Yeah.
Because we won.
Conquerors.
Yeah.
Yeah. God.
Did we even battle in Louisiana other than just taking New
wants
Orleans
it?
by Navy? Yeah, exactly. I think we took the Mississippi River and we landed ships in New Orleans, and then we were like, that's all we want.
Yeah.
If you guys all want to relocate to Louisiana, have at it. You can have the Confederate States of Louisiana. Take Mississippi and Alabama too.
Yeah.
But we get those shipping lanes.
I'm keeping the malaria medicine, though.
Yeah.
If you guys can figure it out on your own, good for you, but
I've seen your submarines. You can't.
it's just an upside down boat. No, I Southern pride is something I like Leonard Skinner. That's all. That's as far as I can go. He also died in a plane.
Yeah, Connor arrives and they fuck a lot.
I noticed that.
And he's like, I just want to marry you. And
she does,
but I'm so broken. And he's like, I'm 45.
Yeah.
I didn't even want to marry until recently when I met you. Up and coming Broadway directors, Sidley.
Sid, we're really just thinking about tax breaks and like merging our 401ks right now. It's not the time for romance is over.
This is a business relationship, okay? And we need to get
maybe
on
like
that.
20.
I'm 45. I've got maybe 20 good years left.
Yeah, 20, 30 if I'm lucky. That's it. But yeah,
Yeah, no, she says, I don't know how to love. And Connor's like, but Sida, they do love you. Connor, you maybe need to step the fuck off.
Connor, how rough is the dating pool at 45?
Before the internet, probably pretty.
These are
rough.
your choices.
Hey, Connor, I'm just throwing it out there. Caro's single. Not gonna be around much longer.
She must have money. They got here somehow. Yeah, God, and then
they love you.
Sprint to the finish.
But do they? What? God, what did you say? I don't know how to love, and we were like, okay, let's break that down. You're afraid you're going to be like your mother.
Yeah.
You're afraid that you are going to have an unhappy marriage the way your mother had an unhappy marriage because your mother was a giant fail person. Because you correctly observed that she wasn't much of a parent, but also she wasn't much of a wife. And you're afraid that you're going to also be a garbage person. And you know what, Sida? Just the fact that you're thinking about that already makes you better off.
Just the fact that you're thinking that you might not already be the best and that, like, you might need to one day do something for somebody else. We also forgot the part where she rides an elephant to protest the civil rights movement. But that's not. I said we don't have time for the racism.
But that was but Vivi did that for her daughter. Her daughter was gonna die if she didn't get to ride that elephant, and so she went the extra distance to con money out of someone and pay to have her ride that elephant. And then Sita was like, I never thanked you for that.
That
Here's a letter with
scene
me thanking you.
encompasses everything that's wrong with the book. It's like, what if your abusers are nice to you sometimes? Like, what if
Yeah.
the context of everything that's happening to you is fucking disgusting, but every once in a while, it's not pure hell?
Yeah.
Then that's the magic of family.
It's the magic of family.
That's the mother-daughter
You
relationship
gotta not
everyone
only
should
forgive
aspire
her,
to.
but you have to beg for her forgiveness. And also, you have to thank her for that time she got you to ride that elephant.
Yep, go see her on her birth month and play cornhole. Let's rubric the book.
Yes, they show up and they do that, and then she's like, I never thanked you. And Vivi's response is, yes, I do deserve thanks. And I was just like, fuck off, fuck all the way off, book,
One
fuck
hit
you.
with a closed fist. That's
One
all.
hit with a closed fit. You know what? For saying that, yes, I deserve to be thanked thing, 2 hits. I think I deserve another one. You know, the second hit, I'll just slap, all right? 1 closed fist, 1 slap across the face. Hard as I can, though.
One closed fist, and I will do my best to hold you underwater with one hand.
Okay, there
I'll
you
use
go.
one hand.
There you go. Yeah, no, it's fucking garbage. The ending ties the whole thing up as just, like, bad. It's bad.
It's the worst message I think I've ever seen in fiction on this podcast.
Aside from If I Did It, Ben, which was also fictional and definitely not real, right?
The only book we have read on this podcast that is worse than this, and I'm including the Zach Baggins Ghost Hunting for Dummies. The only book we've read on this podcast that is worse than this is If I Did It, How It Would Have Happened, Confessions of a Killer by O.J. Simpson.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. That is for true.
We can't go lower than that. I simply won't.
Yeah, I think we'll just did not finish if we ever find anything worse. But I can't imagine like how you can even do it worse. And I don't want to try and imagine.
There's some fun stuff on the Patreon.
Yeah, check it out for a mere $2. Wait, $3.
No, not for that. Yeah, for that
you have to pay an extra $1 for.
If
OJ.
you want to hear the really offensive shit, you got to pay $3. I stand by that.
All right, Ben. Let's rubric this fucking. Even though I don't wanna, let's rubric it, Ben.
Yep.
Blog.wordsaboutbooks.ninja, and you know what? I don't even know what I'm gonna write as a blog for this book, but I will endeavor to get caught up this month, and I will write a blog on this. So if you are one of the 2 people still listening to this episode because you shut it off with how fucking depressing this entire goddamn book is, you have that to look forward to. So
you could also read more about it.
Yeah.
Content and ideas.
I think I was being. I can't tell if I'm being generous or overly mean. I think I gave it a 2.5, Ben.
I'll give it a solid 2.
Okay.
Clear ideas and points are presented but never developed. I'm going to say I think the clear idea is everything I discussed is a theme. The mother-daughter thing, the understanding your parent as a person, a flawed person, understanding that people are not the worst thing they ever did, forgiveness, reconciliation, the complexities of that relationship. That's what she's trying to develop. I would say in her mind it is fully developed. Went to the wrong conclusion.
Went completely to the wrong conclusion.
When you fuck up the theme this bad, I can't say you achieved your goal.
Yeah, I would agree. I gave it the 0.5 because I also put like it depends on what the author is trying to do. If it's just trying to convey generational trauma, then yeah, I guess you did that. But if you are trying to have a complex mother-daughter relationship, a failure. Organization, Ben, I gave it a 2. Pacing is again, I want to say Sita is looking at a scrapbook, and then we zoom in on Vivi's life for a very, very long time, and then it flashes back, and Sita's like, "I wish I knew more about Mother."
It's
Anyway, now to
it's
look at the next one
it's very unclear what Sita is shown. It,
and what she
like you
knows.
said, it
Yeah,
written in the structure of a play where like the framing device is on stage, sets up the scene, fade to black, curtain rises, we're in the flashback. And you can kind of do that surreal stuff. But some important things are confused. Like I can't keep straight what's her name? Bucky Barnes and her mother.
Buggy and
Yeah.
whoever the fuck her mom is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't keep that straight. I don't know how many kids Vivi has, to be
Yeah, I'm
perfectly
actually
honest with
wondering if
you.
maybe she only had 4 kids and then
um,
the twin that died, so 5, but there were only 4 that reached
I'm
adulthood. I don't know.
unclear on the level of abuse Vivi suffered. The nunnery, like the Catholic school, doesn't seem like crazy bad.
Doesn't seem anything like what she dished out to
Doesn't seem
Sita.
like hunger strike bad to me. If I had a kid who went on a hunger strike from being separated
Wait,
from
is
her
that what
family,
she did?
well, that's
I thought she just
effective.
lost her
Yeah,
appetite.
she lost her appetite because the food was too salty. Whatever. She's depressed, and she
Yeah.
stops eating. Like I I don't fully understand what was so bad about it that you
I don't have my
basically
YaYas.
shut down and almost died
I was
over it.
popular in high school, and I'm not popular here, and I don't have my YaYas.
Yeah, it points to some deep-seated issues there.
My YaYas.
I don't fully understand the extent of her father's abusiveness.
Yeah, he hit me with a belt sometime, but he never drew blood.
Considering the entire book relies on us rooting for Sita to forgive Vivi, which I
I
most certainly
sure
was not.
don't. Yeah.
I would say, yeah, you wasted a lot of time on things you shouldn't have wasted time on,
But
and
I
didn't.
need to know about that Shirley Temple lookalike contest, Ben.
Yeah, I guess.
That was real important. Question mark.
Aren't the YaYas just the most precocious scamps that ever did be wealthy throughout the Jim Crow South?
It certainly was a lot less fun and precocious when they became 20 and 30
I don't know. I was
and
wearing pretty thin at
40
12.
and 50. Yeah, it was one of those things that like maybe it was fun if you were like 5, but now you're not shitting your pants. You need to start acting like an adult. This blood oath thing's a little weird. Word choice, Ben.
3.
I gave it a 2.5 because I had to hear YaYa so often that I decided that means you lose points.
I found it both luminous and stylish.
Yeah, it was a bad book, but it was stylish.
It was luminous.
When we stop reading, when this book is burned in a Viking funeral, just like Vivi, part of us is going to be lost, Ben.
See, the thing is, like, that's the kind of thing that would make Vivi charming, is if she was just so far off the deep end that she was like, I need to be
Yeah.
burned with my jewels. But, okay, personal preference.
She's just an alcoholic. 1, Ben. It's bad. I don't
Yeah.
get why anyone would like this. It's bad. It sucks.
It's a 1. I actually think, and the recommendation strength is a 1 too.
Also a
well.
1.
Yeah.
Yes, nobody should read this.
So I'll get this out of the way right now. I think a lot of women liked this book because they related to it and they felt seen in some way by it. Because I think there are a lot of people. I think the one thing Rebecca Wells does capture is that there are a lot of women out there who have complicated relationships with mothers, and like the mother daughter cycle of abuse and trauma is something that maybe, especially in 1998 when this was published, not super duper explored. But I'm sure maybe there's a lot of women who came to this and saw something for the first time that they had not seen in any other books. Because like we said,
rampant abuse.
well, no, like we said, like just the experience of like the negative aspects of motherhood, because I think for a long time motherhood is portrayed as you're going to have this beautiful baby that you're going to love more than life itself and everything's going to be great. And for so many women that is just so not the reality. And so maybe they saw that they felt seen for the first time in this book, and so they really liked it and they really gravitated to it. But in the intervening time, there have certainly been so many more much better books that you could read for that I would say whatever value this had is gone and it should be forgotten.
Just like Vivi.
Just like Vivi.
Oh, God. Well, that might even be a two-parter. It's 2 fucking hours, Ben.
Well, then I will let you handle the Patreon shout-outs.
All right. I will. You guys voted for this, and I delivered.
Did they?
What you wanted.
Or did you put it in front of them until there was no choice but to pick it?
I put Nate's Nightmare November in front of them, so I guess I picked the book on their instruction.
Oh, that's what this was supposed to be. They thought they were going to get another wrestling book. And you decided to do this.
It was a nightmare. So mission accomplished.
Well, come back next week when you find out how dead to me Nate is. Good night.
And now it's time for another round of shout-outs to all you lovely patrons who you voted for a nightmare and you got a nightmare. Shy with a Y. Follow Shy on her own sacred feed on TikTok. Jamie, the Gravy Man, on ifyouwantthegravy.wordpress.com, where he has his own divine secrets that you can access for free, where he covers everything except books. Isekai Sensei Sama. From that time I got reincarnated in the same world as an anime podcaster podcast. Is childhood abuse an isekai? John Bierce, a real author, which I usually say to point out that Ben and I are technically not real authors because of how bad we are, but in this case I would also apply it to the book we're covering. You can go check out his books and his Patreon, his books being Wabi award-winning The Rack, the Mage Errant series, and The City That Would Eat the World. And finally, last but not least, Keegan, the greatest of all of our, what I call it, sacred yacht plan, divine, shit, I can't remember. The greatest of all of them, because he hasn't given me anything to shout out, so he gets to have that greatness label.
Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to
Beating your kid bloody until they piss themselves.